Hi everyone, it's Angie, and today is Monday, and as you all know, if you've been following along, that means it's Marine Ecosystem Monday, my favorite day of the week, of course. And today is extra special for a few reasons, but the main reason is that today is World Oceans Day. So maybe some of you have heard about World Oceans Day. It seems like we have a holiday for everything these days, like National Donut Day and all those random holidays, but today is a really important one because it's all about celebrating the ocean. So I've taken you to this beautiful overlook where you can see the Pacific Ocean, and you can also see the Humboldt Bay over my other shoulder. And today I want to kind of talk about the theme of World Oceans Day, which is together we can protect and restore our oceans. Now, we've been going off of this theme within our Marine Protected Area group in state parks that the oceans connect us. They don't separate us. And here on planet Earth, we have one ocean, just one. Even though we call that ocean by many different names, we really have one ocean and we all share it. It takes up 71% of our planet. And this is just one little bit, tiny piece of it right behind me that I hope you are enjoying looking at. But yeah, our ocean connects us. So I want to start this off by talking about some things that the ocean does for all of us, so we can send out some gratitude to our marine environment today. So first thing is that the ocean produces 50% or more, probably more, of the oxygen on the planet. So we all rely on oxygen, of course, to survive. And I want to start us off by doing 2 deep breaths. I'm borrowing this from my friend Interpreter Robin down in Morro Bay. Check out their Facebook page for awesome videos as well. But we're going to take 2 deep breaths together. And after one of those breaths, we're going to say, "Thank you, ocean," because 50% of the oxygen on the planet comes from our ocean. So let's do it. Ready? First deep breath. Second deep breath. And then we'll say, "Thank you, ocean." Thank you, thank you, thank you, ocean, for providing that oxygen for us to breathe. Not only does the ocean produce lots of oxygen that we need to survive, it also provides food for millions of people. It provides jobs, it provides transportation, it provides recreation. I know there's a lot of people who love to recreate out in the ocean like myself that are maybe in our audience today. I love to go snorkeling and scuba diving. Sometimes I like to go surfing, definitely like to go hang out on the beach and do picnics and things like that. So the ocean is our backdrop for our recreation for a lot of people in California. And another important thing is that it's an element of cultural heritage. This beautiful, thriving, abundant ocean, this biodiversity that exists within this body of water, has been used since time immemorial by the Indigenous peoples that have lived on this land long before many of us arrived here. So this invaluable resource is still here, and we're so lucky for that, for the people who have stewarded this place, this resource, for thousands and thousands of years. So now we know a little bit about how important our ocean is and all the amazing things it does for us that maybe we overlook or forget to thank it for all the time. And I want to talk about some of the three of the main things that are harming our oceans right now. So the first one being climate change, human-caused climate change, definitely having an impact on our oceans. And maybe I'll do a whole live about that someday. But today, it's all about Oceans Day. Another big threat that's facing our oceans right now is overfishing. In a lot of places in the world, we're just taking too many of those resources out of the ocean. And that's one reason why we have marine protected areas, right? There's an MPA right behind me, right here. These are places that we've basically put aside. They're places that are off limits for human consumption. So those are places where the habitat and the animals that live there can thrive with one less stressor, taking away the stress of our impact of removing things from their habitat. So I'm really grateful to have MPAs. I know all of you are as well. And the third big threat that's facing our oceans, you probably guessed it, maybe you're typing it into the comments, but I can't see it, is pollution. And of course, there's many different types of pollution that we could talk about, but today I want to talk about plastic pollution. Now, if you know me personally, you know that plastic pollution is an issue that is very near and dear to my heart. And I'm surprised that I haven't talked about it yet on one of these lives, but plastic is all around us. And I want to talk about that and how it's impacting our oceans today. So, plastic. Maybe you can look around your house or wherever you're sitting right now, and you can point to something that's made of plastic, or at least has a component. Part of it is made of plastic. Now, to give you a little bit of background, plastics are made of fossil fuels, these things called petrochemicals. So we already know with climate change that decreasing the amount of fossil fuels that we use is really important. So of course, if we're using things that are made of fossil fuels and use fossil fuels to make and transport, maybe that's not the best contribution to reducing our carbon footprint. And we actually create 300 million tons of plastic every single year. And of that, well, let me go ahead and say that 3 million tons is equivalent to the weight of the entire human population on this planet, which is also incredibly difficult to picture. But just to put that into perspective, 3 million tons, that's how much all of us humans in the human race weigh on the planet. And that's how much we make in 1 year of plastic. Now, of that 300 million, 8 million tons ends up in the ocean each year. I'll just let that sink in. 8 million tons ends up in our oceans. And if you know much about plastic, maybe you've had a little bit of experience, maybe you've watched some awesome ocean documentaries that have talked about plastic, maybe you're a real plastic hater like myself, and you know that plastic doesn't break down. So we talk about a lot of things breaking down in the environment, whether it's composting or biodegrading. Basically breaking down to small enough parts or parts that the earth can use for other things, right? But we know that plastic, that tricky plastic, it does not break down. It only breaks up. And when I say breaks up, I mean it breaks into smaller and smaller and smaller pieces. And pretty much all the plastic that we have ever created on this planet still exists today in some form, which is insane to imagine. 8 million tons every year into the ocean. Crazy. But we use this plastic all the time. And when that plastic breaks down into tiny, 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 tiny pieces, we call that microplastic. Maybe you've heard of microplastic before. This is sort of a trending topic these days to talk about plastic and microplastic, which I absolutely love. Maybe you know about microplastics because many times, I don't know so much anymore, but they used to be in like facial scrubs, sometimes even in your toothpaste. And that stuff just goes down the drain, doesn't get filtered out because the pieces are so small and they end up out in our ocean. Now, microplastics have a few qualities that are not so great. Well, they have many qualities that aren't so great. But one of them is that plastic and pieces of microplastic actually attract toxins from the ocean. So there's basically free floating toxins and chemicals from land-based industry and agriculture that go into the ocean. They're free floating in the water, and those toxins will actually hitchhike onto microplastics. So they're basically attaching themselves to these petrochemical-based plastics. And basically that turns these little tiny pieces of plastic into poisonous pills. And I bet you know who I'm talking about ingesting these when I talk about plastic pills. I'm talking about marine life, of course, because all of the amazing, beautiful, colorful, biodiverse marine life that lives out in the ocean, it's difficult to tell the difference between their food and microplastics or types of plastic that are floating around in the ocean. It looks like I have one person here, so I wonder where everybody is. I hope this is being recorded because this is a topic that's so important. I can't see if anyone's there, but we're gonna just keep going. And of course, lots of marine life eats this microplastic in the ocean. Now, I've heard that if you eat seafood you're likely to eat about a credit card's worth of plastic in 1 year because of these microplastics that move through our food chain, our food web, and make their way to our dinner plates if we eat seafood. So plankton have been observed eating microplastics. Small animals like shrimp, which make up a huge plankton and shrimp, make up a huge portion of the foundation of our marine food web. If those animals are eating plastic, all the animals that eat them are also eating plastic. And if we like to eat animals like tuna or squid, we're also eating those plastics. So maybe this isn't a new idea to you. Maybe some of you are getting a little refresher, a little re-inspiration to kick some of those plastics out of your life. But one really shocking thing that I found out recently was that in the Mariana Trench, which is in the Western Pacific Ocean, it's the deepest part of the ocean, over about 7 miles deep, 36,200 feet about. That's equivalent to the length of 100 football fields to get from the surface of the ocean down to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Now, down in that very remote, mysterious, often untouched habitat, guess what they found? Guess what they have found and continue to find? You're all yelling, Angie, it's plastics! And I'm saying, yes, my friends, it is plastic. We have found lots of plastic and marine debris, or basically any human-made kind of element or debris that ends up in the ocean. Is called marine debris. And in the Mariana Trench, in 1 liter of water, they found up to 2,000 plastic particles. 1 liter of water. So I made this little demonstration for you. Let's see if it works. Here I have a 1 liter bottle of water, and in the bottom, you can see approximately 2,000 little tiny particles. And I'm gonna shake this up so maybe you can see just how much that is of this 1 liter. And remember, deepest, most remote, least understood habitat on the planet. In 1 liter of water, we have over 2,000 plastic particles. So, my friends, you might be asking me or saying to yourself, Angie, come on, you're just exaggerating. I recycle, it's all good, plastic isn't a problem. But actually, my friends, I'm sad to tell you that about 91% of the plastic that we recycle does not get recycled. And there's a whole lot of stories and reasons why behind all of that. Basically, we ship off a lot of our plastic to poor communities, and that sits there. Sometimes it gets burnt, sometimes it gets ends up in the ocean. We basically just export our problems to another place, which is not really a sustainable way to live. So yeah, recycling is not really doing what it was promised to us that it was going to do, unfortunately. So if you are recycling though, great job, because we do need to recycle, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. So maybe some of you have heard of the 3 R's, and if you have, go ahead and type them in the comments, even though I won't be able to see them. I know that probably most of you out there will know what the 3 R's are. The 3 R's, of course, are reduce, reuse, and recycle. Now, you might notice that word recycle is the last one in our 3 R's, and there's a reason for that. Before recycle, we have reduce, which means basically reduce the amount of plastic you use to begin with. Pretty simple. Not going to explain that much more. Reuse is the second R, and reuse basically means if you do have to bring plastic or other kind of things into your life, reuse them as many times as you can. If you're feeling like you need some inspiration, check out like some Pinterest pages, look up reusing stuff online. You'll find amazing crafts and fun things to do with things you have laying around. And then we have recycle. So recycling is the last option. Remember, reduce and reuse always before you recycle. And recently, actually, there has been a huge push to adopt a 4th R. Here's the real test. I'm curious if anybody out there knows what the 4th R is? Well, my friends, if you guessed refuse, you are correct. Now, refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle is our new kind of 4 R's statement. And by refuse, we basically mean to kindly reject when we're offered single-use plastic. So things like a single-use water bottle, a single-use coffee cup, a single-use straw, a single-use fork and knife or utensil set, all those things that we're given and we just use one time and then we throw away. Sometimes we use these items for a matter of seconds before they're thrown away. Hey everybody, I see our number is popping up, so I must have done something and somebody saved me, but I'm glad everyone's here. Unfortunately, most of the program has already happened, but I encourage you to refresh the page once we're done and watch from the beginning, because this is a really awesome program celebrating World Oceans Day. Thanks everybody for being here. I'm Angie. Thanks to whoever saved me and shared my video on the right page. I was just talking about the 4 R's: refuse, reduce, reuse, and recycle in honor of World Oceans Day, because we have a lot of plastic that's ending up in our oceans right now. And refuse, so basically kindly say, no thanks, I don't need that plastic straw, or no thanks, I don't need those plastic utensils, or no thanks, I don't need that plastic bag at the grocery store. So that's sort of the new standard for the reduce, reuse, recycle situation. And I want to go ahead and ask you all, in honor of World Oceans Day, those of you who have showed up, thank you for being here. I want to ask you to do something. Maybe take like a pledge with me, if you will. Maybe share in the comments what types of plastic you already have removed from your life, what types of single-use plastic you refuse to use already. But I want to just go ahead and put this in your mind, that if you ever are given the option between glass, paper, or plastic, choose glass or paper. So if you're at the grocery store and the person that's checking you out, so kind, putting your groceries in the bags for you, if they say, excuse me, would you like paper or plastic? What are you gonna say? You're gonna say, I would love paper, please. I would love to have paper, please. Ideally, if we're going by the refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle, you would have brought your own grocery bags. But right now we know there's a lot of places where some rules are changing about what you can and can't bring into the store and what you can't use. But if you can't bring your own bag for some reason, or if you forgot your bag, maybe ask the store if they have a box, because all those goods that are in the store, they come in a box. So ask if you can reuse one of those boxes, take your groceries home with you, or if you absolutely have to use a bag, choose paper, not plastic. Paper can actually break down in our environment. And glass can actually be recycled over and over and over again without reducing its value. So plastic basically gets downcycled. Man, so much stuff to talk about plastic. Maybe you can tell this is something I'm super duper passionate about. But happy World Oceans Day, everyone. I know you all hopped on kind of late. I hope you do go back and rewatch this video from the beginning, because there's lots of good content there. I will go ahead and take this moment though to say thank you everybody for your support of what we're doing up here with California State Parks and up here in the North Coast Redwoods District. We know that a lot of you are at home sheltering in place, and we've been doing this for a while now. So thanks everybody for hanging in there and for following those good physical distancing guidelines, and for taking care of by washing your hands, using hand sanitizer, not touching your face, using those masks when you need to. We're doing all of that, and we're sanitizing our stuff, and we're happy to be able to connect with you in this way, even though we can't maybe connect with you in person right now. So thanks everybody for being here. We love you, and happy World Oceans Day. Like I said, I know a lot of you maybe missed the beginning and most of this program, but definitely do refresh the page, go to videos, and check it out from the beginning, because I talked all about plastic, about microplastic, about marine debris, and I want to just go ahead and end this program with an important message, coming back to the idea that the ocean connects us, right? And there are many things that connect us as humankind, and if you look around you today, or the world that's around us lately, you'll see themes of compassion and humanity, and people advocating for a healthy environment, for social systems and environmental systems that are intact to hand down to future generations. And I think that work is so important. We think that is so important here. And that's why we protect beautiful places like state parks and marine protected areas. So remember that there's so much that connects us. The ocean is one of those things, but also our common humanity is one of them as well. So we love you all. Happy World Oceans Day. This is such a happy day. I hope you have the opportunity to connect with the ocean in some way, whether it's reading a book about the ocean, watching a cool ocean documentary, reducing your use of plastic, my favorite thing to do. We can't wait to connect with you soon in our parks, and happy Monday. Tune in every day at 3 o'clock for more live streams from my fantastic co-workers and interpreters. Again, we're grateful for you. See you soon. Bye.